How's it going, my friends? Back with another video today. And I want to kick this off by saying thank you to the new Patreon subscribers and the new donors to the channel. Ray Jacob, Cal Smith, Mitchell Hastings, Jose Dino, Alan Ball, Adrenaline Workout, LLC. We had a great conversation last night through email. Thank you very much for the donation. And Michelle Smith Photography. Thank you guys so much. The outpouring of support for this channel is truly remarkable, and I cannot thank you guys enough for showing support for my message and what I'm trying to bring. Let me just turn off this heater right here. Sorry about that. But I can't show you guys enough gratitude for the support you're giving the channel, because this message is based on something that I'm very passionate about. I really, that last video about the autofocus, situation that we were talking about with Manny Ortiz and stuff, I got a lot of, most of it was positive. I'd say 95% of it was positive. There was a 5% minority that was extremely vocal about telling me that, basically I'm an idiot. But I really appreciate the people that support this channel, because I'm doing it from a perspective of trying to put out information that's really useful and, actionable for you guys. And something that's going to actually help you guys as photographers, not just Z users, but people as photographers. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, well, actually, this was sparked by my friend Timothy Morse. You're always in the comments. You've donated to the channel multiple times, and you and I always have great conversations in the comments. And you asked me a question a few weeks ago that you were having troubles, you're kind of struggling with, and I totally resonated with the question. It was, what makes a good photograph? And that sounds like a very simple question, but if you really think about it, it's extremely deep, and it's very, very important, I feel like, that we meditate on this and we think exactly about what it is that makes a good photograph. I don't know if we'll ever have 100% the answer. I think that I have figured it out for me, but it's a learning process, and it's always evolving. But this is something that, if you're going to commit to photography in an authentic and real way, you need to meditate and think about questions like this, because they are the reason why we get up out of bed every single morning. We pick up our cameras, we go everywhere with our cameras, and we constantly look for making photos. And I feel like we need videos like this and people in our corner talking to us like this in order to realign our thinking back to the things that are most important. So that's one of the things I love, is you guys seem very responsive to videos like this, like the philosophy of photography, because this is the stuff I love talking about the most, because I think about it constantly. So what makes a good photograph? Well, first of all, let's think about something. Who are we really listening to? Okay? Who are we listening to? What ideas are we taking in our head that's affecting our outlook and the way that we go about our work and creating things every single day? In this world, we are constantly bombarded by opinions, by negativity, by people straying us in 50 different directions. We're bombarded by images constantly that other people produce for us into our brains, into our eyes all the time. We're bombarded with images all the time, and people trying, not all of it's negative, but there's a lot of manipulation going on to manipulate our sense of the world. So it's hard to see things clearly. People don't see the world as it really is. People see the world through a lens of their experience. And so as you go about your life from birth until death, you're going to be experiencing all different types of messages being pointed at you to try and change your experience and to alter that filter of the world so you produce certain behaviors. And so if you don't realize that, then you're a tool. You're a puppet of all the things that are trying to influence you. The images that we see 99% of the time during the day are there to sell you something or to change your opinion about something so you go in a certain direction. We turn on the news. This is something, you should be afraid of this. This thing bad, this thing good. When we scroll through Instagram, this thing will make you this type of person. Buy this. And that stuff I don't feel like is inherently bad, but it can be bad if you let it completely change that filter. So when you're going to do your photography or your art or any type of expression, it is simply for expressing something that's been put into your mind, rather than your authentic true self and the real gift about what you could give to the world. A good photograph, guys, is something that delivers a message. But the message is unique to the person taking the image. So every single person in this world, there's what, 7.5 billion people in the world now, every single person is different. And they want you to think that people are pretty much all the same, but it's not true at all. Everybody sees the world a little bit differently. Everybody has a different experience in life. Everybody has a different personality, a different set of circumstances that create a unique person. And that person can deliver a unique message through the photograph and the way they see the world. So if you're delivering a message that was put into your mind by something else that was trying to tweak that filter, it's a bad photograph because it's not you and it's not authentic. And so what is a good photograph? A good photograph is something that delivers the real message of the person taking the photo. How do we get to that space? Because obviously this is easier said than done, right? It's really not. In order to find your authentic, true voice in photography, you need to go back to when you were a kid. Go back to when you were a child and you did things just because they interested you, they sparked your imagination, and you loved instinctively to do them. What were those things that drove you? Because those are the same things. I don't care who you are. We are still the same people. I believe that the majority of who we are, there's that seed, that core of us that's there from birth. It's who we are. It's the majority of our personalities, makeup. You can call it spirit. You can call it, I believe that there's something other to a human being other than this physical body and this physical world. I believe that there's something else there. You don't have to believe that, but there are certain motivations and things you're naturally, instinctively interested in since a child. And if you go back to that state and you just follow those instincts that you have a unique message to deliver. Everybody does. And that's how you connect with it. You go into the things that naturally interest you and you bring them out in the world and you translate them through the photograph. And then that's why you see these amazing images that they're, by all, normal technical critiques, are terrible photos. Blurry, colors are all off, blown out, crazy dark, grainy, whatever. But they're amazing images that grip you and just grab you. And you can't explain why. But the reason is because it's translating a piece of the photographer in an honest way. They captured something. It's like a snapshot into their mind and a direct connection between you and someone else through the photograph because it was authentic and true. So the rule of thirds, the technically perfect photo has no bearing, does not matter at all. All that matters is they're translating their truth. And so as we move around through the day, we need to be aware of the fact that photography is about transferring beauty and transferring that message. And you can find it anywhere. There's some other type of dimension, something other going on in this world, and you can pull beauty out of pretty much any situation. And even if it's not beauty, you can pull an emotional connection through a photograph out of every situation to transfer and tell a story to somebody else. But it only works if you're being authentic and true, and you're getting away from that filter. You're taking the blinders off as much as possible. Guys, I like to try and either read or listen to audiobooks a lot now. I try and turn off all the visual stimuli and information coming in because I need to have my imagination going in order to create good, gripping photos. Your imagination, that's a gift. Whatever's in your head, the things that your mind goes and constructs images and constructs scenarios and just having your mind go like you were as a kid. All those games you used to play and make up, you could have fun wherever you were. It's because the imagination was there. It's the same with photography. If we're constantly being presented with images all the time, there's nothing for the brain to produce because everything is given to it. But the problem is it's being given to you by somebody else, and a lot of times they have an agenda. So you need to remember that, guys. Those books, allowing yourself to imagine things, allowing yourself to follow your passion and the things that you're naturally interested in are what's going to separate you as a photographer and create a message. And this doesn't matter if you're photographing people. I think, Timothy, you were saying that you photograph a lot of auto stuff, and how do you create a good image with that stuff? It doesn't matter what type of photography it is. Landscapes, whatever. You can create an emotional message through anything. And it doesn't have to be, you taking a picture of somebody crying for it to be emotional. It can be anything that, as long as it connects you, and there's something other than when you go into a situation just following your instincts and what you think is interesting. And, if there's kids in the room, or anybody else, put it on mute for a second. But fuck all that. Anybody who's following their true authentic self is going to make something that's unique for the world, and they are an individual. Nobody sees the world like you, so it will come out and it will translate into something new for the world, and there's power. There is absolute power in that. I think that you need to remember that I had this written down here because I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget it. Your job as a photographer, all our jobs, is to discover what we find meaningful in this world and translate it and give it back. I really want you guys to think about that, because this is the number one thing that I think about with my photography. Our job is to discover what we feel in an individual and personal level that's meaningful and translate that into the world. So follow your inner compass and the things that you naturally are drawn towards. If you have a passion for helping people or the downtrodden and the sick, go find homeless people and talk to them. Take their portraits. If you like landscapes, same thing. Just go out and follow whatever it is that's going to give the world meaning, because it's about giving back, not what you can take out of the world. It's about what you can put into it in a unique time signature, in a stamp of you as a person that can live on forever. And the thing is, guys, I'll just end with this. You don't want to get to the end of your life and wish you had more time to say what you needed to say. So whatever it is that you find that drives you, that moves you, that is a seed of interest, you need to take your camera and point it at that. And who cares if it's not trendy, or it's not what everybody else is doing, or somebody won't like these colors, or somebody won't like this idea. That is not how you create anything that's lasting. And if you start photographing things for other people, or because of that filter other people put in your mind, you will get to the end of your days and you'll be looking at that box, that pine box, facing down the last few hours of your life, and you're going to be full of regret and wishing you had more time. But if you follow your true authentic self, if you point your compass in the direction of where you feel most comfortable and where you're interested in, that's where the passion grows, and a force will come behind you, and it will help build a message. That's a perfect example of this YouTube channel, and what I've done with photography is I could care less about the views, about the amount of, clicks that it gets or anything like that. The only thing I care about is the audience that I already have and delivering an authentic message and doing it because I love it. That's it. People were accusing me of, because I put Manny Ortiz, that's one reason why I changed the title of the last video. I took Manny Ortiz's name out of there because the last thing that I was trying to do was make that video for clicks or exposure. It was because I wanted to deliver a message to the people who depend on me telling the truth. And that's the reality of it. You can believe me or not, but I'm trying to deliver an authentic message in the best way I can. I hope this helped, guys. I hope that these ramblings actually made a difference. If it did, please drop it in the comments and let me know. As always, I love the conversations and, you know, everybody getting into the comments and talking about their perspectives. You guys are, 95% of you guys, very professional and thought-provoking conversations going on in these comments. So I hope this helped you guys on a Friday. And you guys go out and create some images for yourself and what you find interesting, creating something new for the world. Till the next video, guys.